Hi, this is Margaret Byrd, and welcome to Color Quest, and welcome to the Indigofest. I am here in the town of Seaview on the Pacific coast in the southern part of Washington state, and I have just completed 4 days of an incredible experience working with Indigo. Thanks to Brit and Iris, who host, teach, and just bring about this incredible community of blue loving people. This was one of the most amazing experiences a natural dyer could have. And today I'd like to just talk about a few highlights. I'm not going to show you everything because guess what? You need to go next year. Anyway, let's look at Indigo. So before we get started, you might be wondering about this background. I actually stayed at the Sou'wester Lodge, which is where the Indigofest was hosted, and it is all of these vintage campers. And I chose this one. It is the cutest experience. It was super cozy and just a fun way to camp, but not camp, if you know what I mean. And it was just so cool to see all these different campers just all together. Take a look at this. So I need to start with a huge heartfelt thanks to the wonderful women, Iris and Brit, who have hosted this event for the past few years. They are truly Indigo mavens. They live it, breathe it, drink it, and just celebrate the beauty that is blue. So I want to start off by making sure that if you are interested in learning anything about Indigo and can consider taking a drive to the Washington coastline, or both of these women offer online courses, you should definitely check them out. Not only do they generously share their knowledge and just spread the good word of Indigo, they also have this generosity of spirit that is something that's very special and really makes for an incredible, inclusive environment to get your hands blue. So Indigo is something that is used across the world, and it has a tradition in so many different cultures. It also has a really dark history that's very much connected to slavery and exploitation, and it needs to be acknowledged that this love of blue turned into a chase for blue that monetized it and created an environment that was deadly to so many different people. I just want to take a minute to acknowledge that, and beyond treating the plant itself with the reverence that it deserves, taking the time to really understand the impact that this plant has had on generations of people, both good and bad. So the festival was 3 full days, 4 nights, and it was a wonderful combination of hands-on learning as well as just some good old-fashioned connection with other creatives interested in natural dyeing and indigo specifically. We got to work with the plant both in its fresh leaf state and see all the different ways that you can experience the tactile beauty of working with indigo leaves when they're fresh. I've had a few videos here where I've done that, and the past few summers when indigo season is happening, I have loved being able to work with fresh leaf. So we pounded, we worked with salt rub method, we worked with the blender method, and then we did something I've never done before, and that is we worked with Indirubin. Check this out. So the chemical process inside of indigo and how blue comes about is something that I'm less interested in. And although we learned a lot about that side of it here in a really amazing way, thank you very much to Iris and Brit. There was a lot of singing and dancing and acting out molecules and what was happening chemically, but that's not something that I tend to be drawn to in my knowledge base. However, I was extremely interested and have been in Indirubin. I've heard about it, I've read about it, but I've never experienced it. And we took our fresh leaf and created Indirubin. This is the reds, purples, yellows, and the other color spectrum that actually lives inside the indigo plant. So although it's known for its blue, it holds all of these other colors. So we were able to witness that happen right in front of our eyes. Really special, very unique thing about indigo is that it holds the rainbow. And what would an Indigofest be without vat work, right? So we had an opportunity to work with 3 different vats. There was an iron vat, which was new to me, something I tried to make while I was studying in Peru unsuccessfully, and an indigold vat. Now, I had mentioned something about indigold recently in a video because it is a farm in Tennessee that was growing indigo and then actually producing a pre-reduced version of indigo that allowed you to work simply from a liquid, and they were selling this or making it available to creatives and artisans. Very sad news to report, which I learned here, was that Stony Creek, the farm in Tennessee, has had to shut down their online shop available for people like you and me because they weren't able to stay financially viable. It's a really true testament to the complexities of working with fresh indigo. It is a really robust and abundant plant, but the processing that's required to do this in an organic and, let's say, earth-friendly way was cost prohibitive, and this is what resulted. They are still doing commercial work for large production, but unfortunately for you and me, we can no longer get indigold. So this was a super special time to be able to work with indigold vats. They did boost them a bit with fructose, so they became fructose vats in order to keep them going for us, and the blues were remarkable. I did all of my dyeing in the indigold vat. I didn't get a chance to work in iron, but I got to bring one of those home. So I will be playing in my iron vat when I get back to my own studio. The third vat that we created was what was called the local vat. And what I learned in doing that, besides the communal aspect of working with indigo, was that there are the ingredients possible to make vats right outside your own doorstep. Here in this part of the Pacific coastline in the Northwest, there is an invasive berry. It's everywhere here. I'm sitting right across from a bush. In curiosity leading the way, Iris and Brit tested this, and it was an amazing fruit reducer. So we made a vat with that. We also used, for the alkali, oyster shells that they foraged for on the beaches here on the coastline, heated them in a kiln to break them down to create calx, and so that was our alkaline. And then they asked for an offering of indigo, that if we had indigo pigment that we could bring in, and we then had this community vat with indigo that was grown by many of the artists who attended this. We dyed wool in that vat as a way for us to bring home a slice of those colors, and the range was actually remarkable. It had more of a greenish tinge to it. The color, though, was absolutely spectacular, and the experience of working with a vat that you can build right from the materials that you find outside of your home or in your own environment is really special, to connect back with the earth and the environment where you live. So beyond being able to watch from fresh leaf all the way to pigment to vat work, we also were able to work with clamping and different kind of fold techniques. This is new to me in many ways. I've had a few videos here of some fairly simple shibori style folds. We did a few more complicated ones, for me anyway. We did some radial folding. I learned a bit about the math involved in that, and just got an opportunity to work with all different kinds of clamps and resists that were different shapes, and that was a lot of fun. We got to work with many different kinds of fiber, so we worked with cotton in different shapes and sizes, and then we also worked with silk when we worked with the fresh leaf. Protein fibers love the fresh leaf. So that was fun too, because that was a very tactile, working with leaves is just amazing. And we were able to create our own Indirubin by putting it in a plastic bag and letting it bake in the sun. So that's also something that was remarkable, and I'll probably do a video on that here because the result is so stunning. So I could go on and on about this event. I can strongly recommend it if you have any interest in learning more about indigo and spending the time to watch all the amazing ways in which you can work from it, and then taking it from fresh all the way to a pigment, or the beginnings of a pigmented state, which we also did, by the way. It just allows you to really understand the plant better and to begin to build that relationship that is so precious if you want to work with indigo. So once again, a huge thank you to Brit and Iris. It was an experience that I would love to have again. I am so grateful for the knowledge that was shared and the community that was developed over these 4 days. If you're interested, I'm going to put their information in the description below so you can reach out. They are incredible. And if you'd like to go next year, sign up for the Indigofest newsletter, get on their mailing list, follow them on Instagram. I will have all of that down below. Really worthwhile. And we had the most incredible weather. It's a little hot, which is funny to say on this coastline, which is often overcast, foggy, rainy, but it made that even more special. Oh, and thank you to the Blue crew, the volunteers who helped with the team. They made it so extra special, and just having extra hands and knowledgeable people to turn to when you are working through indigo, it was really awesome. So thank you, Blue crew, you know who you are. All right, it's time for me to get on the road. I am going to be heading back to my home studio. I'm not sure what we're gonna do next week on Color Quest. We're just gonna see where the wind takes us. But in the meantime, have a wonderful week and spread the word about Indigofest if you know of anyone who loves that blue. I will see you next week on Color Quest.